again, it starts and ends with people, and you are those people who are going to change the world and are already doing that. Our first guest speaker is a woman whose story will stay with you long after you leave life. Dr. Astrid Tuminez's unlikely journey has taken her from a very humble childhood in Southeast Asia to just over a year ago being named as the first female president of Utah Valley University. She says her gospel faith, her good fortune, persistence, and a host of great mentors fueled her journey. And we are so delighted that that journey has brought her right here to the New Skin Live stage this morning. Let's take a look at her amazing story.
Astrid's story still impresses me.
I was raised in one of the worst slums of the Philippines and grew up in a hut without running water and without electricity. When I was 5 years old, Catholic nuns from the Daughters of Charity found me and my sisters and invited us to attend their school for free.
She exudes beauty and intelligence and acceptance of people.
She takes her job seriously, but she doesn't take herself too seriously. She's still the fun-loving, young Filipino girl that she grew up as. And despite everything, she's able to connect with people, I think, at a very human level.
She's the best person. I will say the Super and Wonder Woman.
Please give a warm welcome to the president of Utah Valley University, Dr. Astrid Tuminez.
Russians in the audience. Dobre utro, dobro pazhalavat, Stat Utah. Are there any Indonesians and Malaysians? Woo! Selamat pagi. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. And where are my Filipinos? Magandang umaga sa inyo lahat. I am delighted to be here. And heard a little bit of my story. I am trying to see if my slides are anywhere. Oh, there you are. Okay. So, I'm the president of Utah Valley University, one of the largest public universities in the state of Utah. This fall, our enrollment is almost 42,000 students. And I have long and difficult days. Thankfully, I have my you know what this is. So when the going gets tough, I just take out my Lumi Spa, and there I am. I am newly energized. You saw earlier that my background from the Philippines, my life began in a small and remote village where life is hard. Life was and is hard. I was brought into this world by a half-blind male midwife, the 6 children of what would soon be 7 children in the family. And when I was 2 years old, my mother, who was an ambitious woman, decided that we had to move to the city so that her children could have better opportunities for education. The only place we could afford to live was the slums. This is my neighborhood where I grew up until I was 14 years old. My father earned the equivalent of less than $50 a month. And of course, as you saw in the short video, the trajectory of my life changed when Catholic nuns from the Daughters of Charity came to visit the slums. They were doing service work and invited me and my siblings to attend their beautiful school for free. It is not an understatement to say that my education absolutely changed the trajectory of my life and opened entire new worlds for me. So my career has spanned 5 different countries. I finished 6th grade, I finished high school, I attended the University of the Philippines, and then went to Brigham Young University here in Utah. Are there any BYU alumni here? I love BYU, but I'm sorry, I love UB more. That's why I have green hair. I attended Harvard University for graduate school and then finished my PhD at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology. I've lived and traveled and worked around the world. One of my first and biggest jobs was in the former Soviet Union, where I ran a project for Harvard University and lived in Moscow. In that job, I had the chance to work with senior political and academic leaders, including President Mikhail Gorbachev, who you see in this picture. I was also the founding vice dean of the Lee Kuan Yew School of Public Policy in Singapore, and the Lee Kuan Yew School is the premier school of public policy in Asia. In addition to that, I lived in New York City for 13 years. It was one of my big dreams. I was in philanthropy. I think some New Yorkers are clapping. I was in philanthropy and then also worked on Wall Street doing venture capital investing in biotechnology. And then for a few years, I spent a lot of time in the southern Philippines working on a peace process between the government of the Philippines and the Moro Islamic Liberation Front. So throughout this journey of living in different places, working in different places, getting my education, what are some of the lessons that I've learned? I'd like to share those with you today and hope that they will be of some relevance to you. The first thing that I learned is that dreams are free. I'm the little girl you see in this picture with her head and her chin and her hands. And I used to get really annoyed living in this nipa hut because during the rainy season, the roof would be full of holes and the water would come in. But what I learned is that during clear nights, it was these very same holes that let me see the stars. And I could dream. And dreaming was free. I could dream anything. All the things I wanted to be, to do, and to see. All the things I wanted to be. So for all of you, dream every day. Nurture your dreams. Dream big, because that is your privilege. That is the thing that you can do without anyone being in the way. The second thing I want to share is do your homework. In Asia, where I lived for 13 years before coming back to Utah, I was a proponent and a researcher of women and leadership. And what I learned from doing this work was that one person or a few people could do work that could change the lives of thousands, if not millions of people. So do your homework about how you can influence for good, how you can leave a legacy that will outlast you, how you can live a life that is bigger than yourself. The third lesson I want to share is set your goals. During the 10 years that I lived in Singapore, I worked with overseas migrant workers during the weekends. Many of them were from my home country, the Philippines, and they worked in Singapore as domestic helpers. We trained them in financial management and entrepreneurship and taught them to set goals to save money, to set goals to learn to start a business, to set goals to go home and be reunited with their families. It is a critical skill to know what you want to do and when you want to do it and how you want to do it. So cultivate this skill in life. And if you're already doing it, do it even better. Fourth, remember that there is strength in numbers. I know that all of you who are here, you're successful in new skin. But I want to ask you this question: what is your support system? And if you don't have one, create it. Because it is our support system, family, friends, colleagues, that will help us sustain the work that we are trying to do. Fifth, leverage technology. I know you all have 2 or 3 computers in your hands right now. And I worked for Microsoft before coming to Utah. I was for 6 years in Southeast Asia, an executive for Microsoft. And what I learned is that technology can be our friend, both in succeeding personally and succeeding professionally. In the world of business, technology, if used properly, can be an amazing tool to help us be creative in how we reach out to the people that we want to influence. So know your technology, know how to use it, improve it, leverage it to do all the things that you want to do. Finally, I want to say, believe in yourself. My own background didn't allow me the privilege of being so self-confident at the start of my life. In fact, I was very not self-confident. My self-esteem was low, but I learned over time, through hard work and through the help of a lot of people, that I could believe in myself. So what I want to say to you is, know who you are. Have that confidence inside you. When you are discouraged or when you have doubt, remember past successes, because you can find that. When you are successful, stay humble. Stay humble, stay hungry. And know that the most important story that you can tell is the story that you tell yourself, not the story that other people tell you. It's the story that you tell yourself. So I want to leave you this thought that life is a great ride. It is a great ride. If you put your mind to it, you will be amazed at the great and amazing things that you can do every single day to help yourself and to help others. So I want to encourage you to expect the great, do the great, and be the great. So hurrah, new skin. I will stay and have a conversation with Ruth Todd. Thank you.
Dr. Astrid Tuminez. Astrid, thank you so much. Astrid, let's go just a second. While they're setting up the chairs for us. That was amazing. Is she amazing? Thank you. Let's go back over those just so we can remember. Dream big, right?
Yeah,
Dream big.
Dream big.
Yep.
Do your homework.
Do your homework. Set goals. We talked about that. Strengthen numbers.
Strengthen numbers, leverage technology,
And believe in yourself. Those are amazing principles to live by. Let's have a quick chat for a minute. Astrid is so nice. She said she'll stay a few minutes and answer a few questions. My first question is, do you still set goals?
Yes, I still set goals. You know, I am an obsessive list maker. So I have very short-term goals. I usually have about 1 million things to do every day. And I'm obsessive about writing all this on paper. And then at the end of every day, I see what I got done. At the end of the week, I do the same. I throw out a lot of pieces of paper that are no longer relevant. And then for bigger goals, I kind of set them at the beginning of the year and review them maybe middle of the year. I am running a university, and I am new. I've been in this position only 1 year. And so for me right now, the big picture is really, really important. The big picture involves what I want to do in building a culture at the university. So I have big goals. So the answer is yes, I still have goals.
Goals and lists, short-term and big goals, long-term
Yes.
goals as well. She's still living what she's teaching us to do. That's fantastic. Let's go back in time. I think your story and being taken by the Catholic nuns to that school that changed your entire life is so fascinating. Tell us what happened within those walls, because I read that you found the library.
Yes. So when the nuns took me in, I was illiterate. I couldn't really read. I couldn't even spell my name. And I didn't know the difference between a 0 and 100. And so the first thing that happened to me was just this hunger. And in the school, the smartest person was seated in the first seat, first row. And the dumbest person was seated in the last seat, 6th row. I was that person in the 6th row. And what happened was I discovered my competitive spirit. I looked at the girl in the first seat, first row, and I said to myself, I want to be her. And so, in about 2 months, I was able to be that girl in the first seat, first row. And then the other thing that may be worth mentioning is, I had no money. So during recess time, all the kids would go to the cafeteria and they'd buy garlic peanuts. It smelled really good. But I couldn't buy garlic peanuts or Coca-Cola, so I'd hide in the library. And I felt bad about that for a little bit of time because I thought, here I'm hiding in the library. But what happened was I read every single book in the library. And so that really shaped me in a very big way. I learned faster, I learned more than anybody because there were 2 recess times every day, and I was in the library reading books.
When you were in the library reading books, we know what happens. Books can transport you over time and space. Did you ever sit back and think that my life would be this giant life that would span all these countries and continents? What did you think as a young girl that was hungry for education and getting an education at that point?
So I not only read books, I read a lot of magazines. And one of the magazines that I picked up was Time. And I remember one day reading about New York City. And I remember reading about the United Nations. And this is a true story. When I was 10, there was an American missionary from the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints who came to our hut and he asked me, Astrid, what do you want to be when you grow up? Without skipping a beat, I said, I want to live in New York City and work in the United Nations. And I only said that, not knowing anything about New York and not knowing anything about the United Nations, because I saw it in a magazine. And that's what I mean when I say dreams are free. So I ended up in real life living in New York City for 13 years, and I did work for the United Nations for 1 summer as a lowly unpaid intern.
But you did it. You did it. That was amazing. So somewhere, Astrid, somewhere in your heart and somewhere in your mind was that dream. You had big goals for yourself, even as a young girl, just beginning that educational process.
Yes, so let me emphasize that. What we can picture in our heads has the power of magic. And I know that sounds like a superstitious statement, but I think it's true. What we can picture in our heads has the power of magic, because everything we are, what we think, what we say, now all revolves around that dream we are dreaming. So I think, it may even have been very unrealistic, you would think at the age of 10, that I thought that. But once I started thinking these things, I could feel it in my bones. And so in the world of business, I've been in the world of business, I have a 10-year stint in the corporate world. I think it is so important, that conviction that what I'm doing is meaningful, what I'm doing can change me and can change my family and the world, and I'm going to give it my all, So I think really that visioning in your head, that belief is so important.
So you're telling everyone in this room that is a new skin entrepreneur, look, see, visualize.
Well, I own a Lumi spa, so if you could sell me, or actually I got it for free. Visualizing it, having what as an entrepreneur, it is that spirit. I can see it, I can feel it, I can do it. That is the same ethos I talk about with my students every single day. My university is 36% first generation. No one in their family had gone to college. So I tell them exactly the same thing. See it in your head, feel it, do it.
We can see this trajectory of your life, but I want everybody to know it wasn't easy, and you didn't just hop from one thing to the next without adversity in your way. Tell us about a time where you got tripped up a little and how you overcame that and kept pushing forward to reach your goals.
Yes, being tripped up, I think that is just a given. Everybody will get tripped up, no matter how good you are, no matter how successful you are. When I found out that I was a good student, it was really, really important for me to get straight A's. And so I remember being a college student at Brigham Young University here in Utah, getting my first A-. Now that's kind of funny, right? An A- is a really good grade. I remember it was 10 p.m. walking across campus at Brigham Young University, tears streaming down my face. And I remember, being in the middle of this big square, and I just screamed, and it felt really good. So what have I learned? I have had other bigger types of adversity in my personal and professional life. So there are several things that I've learned. Number one is know that support system that you have. I said earlier that there's strength in numbers, your support system. Know that place or that person or those people you go to where they love you and they also tell you the truth. For me, running has been a big thing. I run, and I started running in my 40s. And I ran my first marathon at the age of 45. Because I was hitting a wall, professionally and personally. And it will happen to everyone. And so whether that's sports, your friends, and then, finally, I think my last point, believe in yourself. Believe in yourself means that you are telling yourself you are enough no matter what, and you can recover, you can be resilient. And I think if you accept from the very beginning that there will be ups and downs, but you are good, and you can go out there and compete, and that kind of belief, that kind of resilience is really important. Also, go shopping, get a massage.
Always good. Good advice.
Dark chocolate, one more. Dark chocolate. 70 to 90% chocolate is the best.
You heard it here from Astrid Tuminez on the stage. So for all of the people out there that are saying, I see that, I want to get there, I want to have that deep conviction and belief in myself and what I can do and see in my mind, how do you get from here, where we are today, to that self-belief? How do you get over that chasm?
How do you cultivate self-belief? I think a lot of that comes from doing. So I remember the very first talk I gave at Harvard University. I was in my early 20s. I remember before the talk, when I was going to speak in front of professors and smart students, I remember going to the bathroom like I was going to puke. And what you do is you fake it till you make it. That's one really, really good tactic. And then the other thing is to keep it real. You'll see around you people who are better, people who pretend they're better. But if you keep it real, with your intention being that you want to be the best person that you can be, you want to be the most successful person you can be, you want to be that person who helps others, I think that intent can be very powerful. And then, just do it. Just do it. The worst thing that can happen is you fail, and you just get up and you do it again. So I would say that a lot of it really just comes from doing, and then making sure you've got those good intentions.
And just being around you, I can feel it. How important is it to be positive?
Oh yeah, well it is, the thing, again, like I said, the most important story you can tell is the story that you tell yourself. For me, it is an ethos to always choose hope, to always choose to be positive, and part of that was I had no choice. I had no choice. When you live in a hut that you saw in the picture, and there are typhoons, the hut is shaking, you may die, you wake up the next morning, you're still alive, it's a good thing. So I had no choice, but for those of us who have choice, I think that freedom is pretty absolute to choose to be positive. I think even the most dire of circumstances, we as human beings are capable of saying to our brains, I am going to be hopeful, I am going to be positive, I am going to do something good for someone else today. And already your dopamine levels will be higher, you'll be feeling good. And sometimes I do something very funny, laughter yoga.
Laugh yoga, love it.
We just laugh, it's very weird, but you will feel positive.
Well, Dr. Astrid Tuminez, we are going to remember to dream big and believe in ourselves. And what a great example of a growth mindset and changing the world one step at a time. Let's give a warm, new skin welcome and thank you to Dr. Astrid.